Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome to a channel update, like talking about the channel, talking about random things that have changed, things that are changing, and basically it's like a health of the channel, right? It's like your yearly checkup. If you get yearly checkups. Isn't that for people over 60 meant to get yearly checkups? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not meant to get a yearly checkup. So yeah, like it's your old age pensioner for the channel checkup, I guess. Anyway, I shouldn't have used that metaphor, I should have used something more vibrant. Anyway, you might have noticed that there's like new logos and stuff everywhere, and a new intro, which was used on this clip as well, so you probably did notice it, unless you're not noticing the video, in which case you're listening to it, but whatever. Basically, I've done some new branding, because basically every year for some reason, I'm like, I want something new! And I do the branding again. And I felt that last year's branding was kind of dark. Like, it was very black, it was kind of bland in a lot of cases, and this, I really like this new branding. Like, it's like logos are blue, and white stripes, and shadows, and it looks a bit cartoony, and it looks very polished, and I really dig it, and I like made it in a few days. I just did all the branding for everywhere and all the intros, because I was like, I have an idea. And the problem is, like, when I have an idea, like, I'm not really a graphicsy, designy person, so when I get an idea, I'm like, I need to do this now. And then I make it. So I like blitzed for several days on it and got it done. And most people seem to like it, which is good. People do say that the intro is like a little bit fast, but I want the intro to be like 3 seconds, so it has to be fast. I don't want the intro to be any longer. Like, YouTube intros are best when they're short. Like, it doesn't really need to say that much, it just needs to be, this is my channel, and basically it goes, EnterElysium! Done. Like, that's what it needs to do. So, thank you for all the feedback on that. I'm glad most people seem to like it, and by most, I mean pretty much everyone. I think there may be, like, 2 people who would like no. What else? I have new internet. Like, you may have noticed if you have been following me on Twitter, or if you saw the last stream, my streams are now in, like, 1080p gloriousness, which is great, as opposed to, like, the 360p they were in before. My streams are amazing quality. I can, like, play multiplayer games while streaming. It revolutionizes the way I can stream. Like, I can stream, like, fast content rather than having to stick to games with, like, slow movements so that, like, the screen doesn't blend and tear and do weird things. Let me just show you. I guess I'm holding up my phone to you now and being like, look, this is my new internet. It's weird. It was very expensive, but, like, it was necessary, and what it is like 3 phone lines dedicated to internet only with a special line, and then they go into this box, and then this box, like, combines them to make one super internet. So basically it's like a bonded line, and then that goes into my router. Like, it's business grade special, not many people install it, and it was all kinds of fun to install. Like, I had 3 engineers on site because the first engineer didn't know how to install it, the second engineer came along to consult about installing the cable, and the third engineer came along because the third engineer actually knew how to, like, install this one particular thing because it's never used by anyone. So I thought I got my money's worth, even though I had spent a lot of money on it. So thank you very much to the people who, like, Patreoned and stuff, because they help support that. Like, that's basically the only reason I can even consider doing it, unless I need to do it. And thank you to the people who donated through Twitch streams and so on, because I got that expedited and got it extra fast because of them. So thank you very much. And also, let's just do a thank you here right now. Thank you to everyone supporting the channel, even just, like, people watching. Every time you watch an ad, that helps. If you're even not, like, if you've got ad block on, people going onto Patreon being like, well, I have ad block on, so I want to support the channel some way, and then supporting through Patreon. Like, even if you support, like, $1 through Patreon, you're probably providing far more than I'd get from any of you watching my videos, unless you, like, watch my videos 24/7 on multiple computers. Like, Patreon and all that really supports the channel, really does, like, helps out so much, and this is kind of the reason I can do the channel as I do. It's because people support through Patreon, people subscribe through Twitch, people donate through Twitch, and all that kind of jazz. It really tops up the ad revenue and allows me to do this and make you videos. In which case, we should talk about videos. So I've kind of slimmed down how I do content. Like, my content was all kind of all over the place before, so there's, like, 3, like, defined series now, right? There are Let's Plays, which I know the game, I'm playing it, and, you can consider them to be fairly long number of videos because I will get to the end. Unless it's a game where, the game ends after, not very long. Like Interplanetary, 7 episodes, Interplanetary. Bam, I know Interplanetary is a Let's Play. There's Let's Tries, which I'm generally uncertain about the game, and I don't know how far I'm going to go into it. Let's Tries are things more like new games I haven't had a proper chance to road test. Let's Tries are basically an exploration of the game together, so, like, you can watch me explore the game and I can find out about the game as we play. That's what Let's Try is. And then Let's Look At, I've basically been like, well, I've got impressions, I've got alpha impressions, I've got look-ats, I was just like, you know what, let's just consolidate it down to just let's look at. So, slightly less analytical, more focused on just trying it out for the first time, being one video, and then being like, it's this price, you know, if you want it or not. And that tends to vary in how much I talk about the actual analyticalness of all the options, etc. But I tend to be a bit more critical of them in the let's look at rather than the let's tries. So that's the idea. I'm still working that one out. And there will be, like, let's story, which will be things like World War K will be let's story. And maybe, like, when Fallout 4 comes out, I will do that. Like, people like the Skyrim series I did quite a long time ago. Doesn't really fit with the channel now, but Fallout will, and I'm going to do it in the same style, so we're going to basically roleplay a character, and we're going to come up with the character's backstory as we go along, and we're going to do that in a sort of story fashion rather than, you know, specifically going down a particular road and gameplaying it from a like a min-max standpoint. And I think people will like that. I mean, you know, give me your feedback below if you like that. But yeah, that'll be pretty cool. I've switched the time slots around. If you haven't noticed, the time slots are now 4 PM, 6 PM, 8 PM BST. So, you know, that's basically, instead of being 2, 4, 6, they're now 2 hours later. And this extra slot when I have 4 videos a day is 2 PM. So, generally, you might see the videos a bit later. And I think they're a bit more reliable. Like, doing 3 videos reliably, I get 3 videos out a day, maybe occasionally 4. Whereas before I was like, all the videos, and some days you get 5, and then some days you get like 2, and it was a bit like unreliable, and people actually really like reliability. Like, you know, reliability isn't sexy. No one's like, oh yeah, my clothes are so reliable, my shoes don't come undone very often. Nah, isn't it great? But no, people like in the comment section are like, I really like that this series is always on time. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I really appreciate that. Like, you know, being able to just deliver content reliably, and you guys being like, I like that. Awesome! Maybe that's strange, but I kind of dig that I can just be like, right, cool, if you want content regularly, I can do content regularly. Awesome. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I've got a new chair. My old chair, maybe kind of broke, so I needed a new chair, and frankly, I looked around the internet, and people were like, you should get this chair, it's a DX Racer chair, and people were like, why should you get this chair? Because everybody gets sponsored by DX Racer and has their chairs, and thus they've got great brand visibility. And then I was like, okay, so what do people suggest that isn't just based on brand visibility because they give chairs to people? And people were like, oh, well, you should get this chair because it's only slightly more, and it's designed specifically to be an office chair, and it's a lot more, you know, better for your back and stuff. It's only slightly more. I checked the price of these chairs that people were recommending, and they were like 4 times the price. For a little bit more. People are insane. People on the internet are, well, you probably already know that. You're on the internet. Frankly, you're listening to me, so you're pretty much already there. But I was just, in the end, I was just like, you know what, I need a chair now. Like, my chair, I was basically sitting in my chair and occasionally going, flomp, flomp. And I was like, I need to do this before I, like, break my neck. So I was just like, screw it, buying a DX Racer chair. People are like, it's a little bit too upright. It holds you a bit too much upright. I was like, you know, actually, I probably need that. Like, it'll hold me in place and I won't, like, get a bad back or whatever. And you know what? Kind of like it so far. I'm not, like, sponsored. They didn't give me the chair. I paid for it. So, you know, I can badmouth it all I want. If you're just wondering. But, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's got a little mark there. And it's, like, the stitching isn't symmetrical, really. Like, it's a little bit lopsided and one of the stitches has come out already. So it's not great quality in that regard, but everything else about it is perfectly fine. And one thing I have noticed is that I'm like, you should be like that, right? You should be sitting back. And instead, I'm doing this, and I'm like, wait, is it because my eyesight's gone past my glasses and I'm trying to look at stuff on my screen that I can't see? Yes. So my chair has made me realize my eyes are crap, which is probably one of the weirder things to come out of getting a new chair. But, you know, kind of happy with it so far. I mean, you know, ask me again in a month or so, and I'll give you an opinion after I've broken it in. But so far, it seems good. I mean, they are pretty expensive, but then again, I sit in this chair for like 14 hours a day or whatever, so should probably have a chair that will encourage me not to ruin my back, because I kind of need that. Like, you know, it's on my list of things I would like to have when I'm old, is a working back. Although, you know, it's probably unlikely. I've probably screwed it up already. But anyway, right. What else can we talk about? I mean, I've got some questions, a Q&A from the Patreons that I meant to do 2 weeks ago, and then realised I was going to get new internet in and a new chair, and was like, you know what, I might as well just delay it and do an entire channel update at the same time. So let's do the questions. what are my thoughts on the recent Steam Summer Sale? This was 2 weeks ago, so it's not quite so recent anymore. The Steam Summer Sale was okay. I mean, I tend to have most of the games in the Steam Summer Sale. Like, some things just come on, like, sale over and over again, and by that point you're like, oh, yeah, I have those games. Of course, being a YouTuber, I've kind of got a lot of other games as well. So, I didn't really buy that much. I bought a couple of things. I can't remember what they were. I think I bought Game of Thrones Telltale game, and that was really good. I have to play the recent episode still. There were some iffy things about people, like, putting the price of their products up and then making bigger discounts to make it look like the discounts were amazing. Because it's like, oh, look, a 50% discount. But they doubled the price before the sale, or whatever. It wasn't quite that, but it was close. And a couple of them looked pretty iffy, like Grand Theft Auto definitely did something like that. Like, they included a shark costume or DLC or something, raised the price because they included it, and then suddenly went, look, a 25% discount, when in fact the discount was like 5% or something off the base thing. And they were like, but it's the added value of the costume. Bollocks. There were a couple of iffy things like that. I think that's probably the biggest iffy thing that was. It's like, that's a bit disappointing. But at the same time, these things happen, and they get wrapped on the knuckles, and the press hates them. Like, articles ran about this, so obviously they lose face. And, you know, people like Rockstar have a great reputation beforehand, so any PR negativity they get is going to affect them, and then they're going to suffer for it. So I kind of believe that kind of balances out a little bit, and frankly, other than that, I didn't really get much in some sale, so... always a good time to get to E4, though. But seriously, E4's on sale all the time. Referring to the recent Bethesda presentation, Fallout 4 will be the best RPG game of the decade, or will be one of the biggest disappointments. Which am I going to choose? So am I going to think it's going to be the best RPG of the decade, or the biggest disappointment? Oh, that's a hard one. I think the thing is, like, the statement there is, like, fanboys will go crazy for it, or it'll maybe just be, like, a paint job of, like, the Fallout 3, and it won't be much better. Like, what I've seen so far, the graphics are basically a little bit subpar. Like, they aren't anything interesting. Maybe they are slightly better for a PS4 or an Xbox One, but they're just not particularly great for PC. I mean, they're not bad. They're just kind of, They are what they are. And so far, like, you haven't seen much of gameplay. Like, you've got a dog that follows, but frankly, like, the Fallout fanboys really like the dog. I, frankly, couldn't get it down. Like, if they gave you a cat, maybe, but even then I'm a bit like, Like, I really, like... I mean, I'll play it, because I like, I like Fallout, etc. It was a pretty good game. I do think the controls on PC for, things like Fallout are a bit janky. I originally played Fallout on Xbox, and had a much better time of it. Apart from the fact I was a console peasant at the time. But, we'll see. I mean... On PC, they have to improve the control scheme at least to make them properly rebindable and so on. I had issues with, and some weirdness with the controls I remember in Fallout New Vegas. Which is why I never really got into the game, because I bought it in Steam on sale, and then was like, and just gave up. I don't know which I'd choose. I don't think it'll be the best RPG of the decade. I don't think it's going to be the biggest disappointment, though. Not for me, because I'm not, like, putting all my hopes on it. Like, what Bethesda do really well is have, like, a really large world, and make you, like... enjoy exploring the world and having things all over the place. Like, they're really good at that world building. And they kind of suck at anything human. Like, I mean, no offense to the super mutants, but the characters feel like they're there just to talk to you. They don't really feel like they have lives, and they frankly don't seem all that personable. Like, they don't have anything going on in their lives. They don't feel 3D. They feel 2D. And that's something that I appreciate more and more. Like, frankly, it doesn't do it for me quite as much as it used to. And Bethesda have been ever since like Oblivion. They were like, oh, characters have their all their lives, and they've got this radiant AI, and they'll go get food when they need food, etc. And that's bollocks. Like, that never happened. So frankly, I'm a bit like. I mean, it's not going to be a disappointment for me, because I'm not expecting it, and I don't think fanboys are going to be disappointed, because fanboys have been working themselves up so much for Fallout 4, that they're going to be like, it's Fallout 4, we love it, because you're a fanboy. That's what the fanboys do. I mean, for people like me, I'm always cynical to begin with. I'll probably be like, you know what, it's probably a little bit of fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy traipsing around the world, and coming up with my character, and doing that character building RPG story stuff I mentioned earlier, because the characters are so boring. But for non-fanboys, I mean, look, it's still a decent game. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I point out the flaws because everything needs to have its flaws pointed out. But it's, you know, it's going to be a decent game. I don't think people are going with the best RPG of the decade. I mean, you've still got Mass Effect 4 to look forward to, which is pretty good. I tend to prefer the Mass Effect series for their RPG-ness just because their characters do feel a bit more 3D. And what else have we got? Well, is there another Dragon Age or something coming out? But BioWare again? I mean, it's BioWare versus Bethesda there, I guess. It depends if you prefer the large open world or if you prefer story and character stuff. To each their own. Like, I think that honestly, it's not going to be the best for me, but I think a lot of people will probably say it's going to be the best. Although that said, we're probably due another Skyrim thing, like Elder Scrolls, before the end of the decade, so we'll see. I'm not even going to answer that. Like, I don't know which I put myself in the camp. I'm probably going to go with the disappointment camp, because I don't want to say it's the best RPG of the decade. But and I don't think it's going to be a massive disappointment. It's not going to be, like, one of the biggest disappointments, no. I'm probably going to be let down by many far more things than just Fallout 4. Ask a British guy, how do you say 30 monetary units and 2/100ths of a monetary unit? In the US we say 30.02. I would say 30 quid and 2 pence. Some people would say tuppence, but no one uses that anymore, so it's 2 pence. 30 quid. 30 quid to 2 pence. Or 30 pounds 2 pence. I don't think I'd say anything different. No, I'd probably just say 30 quid. Like, I'd ignore the 2 pence, frankly. I mean, if you made me say it, I'd say, you know, 2 pence, whatever. But otherwise, I'd just be like, yeah, it's 30 quid. Screw it. So yeah, 30 quid. The Elysian Empire... The Knight of the Elysian Empire tier. What do you see the Knights' role... This is one of the Patreon tiers. It's called, like, Knights of the Empire. What do you see their role? Is it pilots, commanders, officers, and such, maybe? Knight of the Elysian Empire is more sort of an upholding of the virtues and, like, knightly honors and stuff that is entrusted to a knight. You don't necessarily need to be part of the military to be a knight. You can just be a knight by upholding the good standing and comportmentship desired of a knight. Yeah. I mean, you can do anything else you want, but... provided it doesn't, like, clash with the whole virtue thing. So, like, no being a bank robber. Depends on the bank, actually. I'm iffy on that one. Yeah, and that's it. I didn't actually get many questions that time around. So, like, I was like, you know, we'll fold it in with the rest of, like, a channel update. And this is a channel update. I mean, I don't know what else I've really got to talk about, apart from the fact that I will be changing stream formats, which I probably should have mentioned earlier. So far, I'm streaming on Saturday evenings. Unless you're in America, in which case it's Saturday afternoon. Or midday if you're on Pacific Coast. But yeah, so far it's Saturday evening, nightish if you're in, like, Central Europe. I think that's okay. I might move it back an hour in the future or something. I'm debating. And I might start having a second stream a week because my internet's actually decent. It depends. It depends what the demand is. It depends if people like that. I mean, people will probably be like, yeah, we like that, obviously. But it does depend for me, because a couple of reasons. Firstly, it means, you know, I need to have the time, and I need to be reliable. Like, if you're doing streamings, like, really important is to be reliable. Like, every time there's a stream, there is a stream, not people turning up and being like, oh... Like, it's a video doesn't matter. Like, a video you can watch late, it doesn't matter. It's still the same video. A stream, people show up for. So, you know, I want to make sure that if I put the time in, I can definitely put the time and commit to it. So it's a big commitment.
Kitty! Oh, I love you, Kitty.
Oh, Socks is adorable. She's always adorable, you know this. Oh, okay, you can go now, Kitty. What was I saying? Kitty. Kitty is a great distraction. Yeah, if I have 2 streams and one of them's on the Saturday evening and I want to put the other one, like, in the week, then it has to be in the evening as well so that, like, people, like, at school or work can come and see it. That means I've got then 2 nights which I've got streams in the evening, which means that I'm working more evenings, and, like, I'm gonna have less evenings free, and this is, like, a terrible plan. Like, I might have to move the Saturday one earlier, but if I move the Saturday one earlier, then I'm, like, competing with other streamers, and it's just unfortunate, really. I need to figure it all out. Anyway, last thing. Project Codename Illyria. Hopefully this will be coming September. It might be October, probably September. And I can tell you nothing about it because it's still in the planning stages. I've got, like, nothing confirmed. I've got a load of probables. I haven't got anything confirmed, though. And I don't want to, like, A, let you down, B, back myself into a corner with things, C, back people into a corner, like, D, like, just lots of things that I, like, don't want to, like, get my hopes pinned on something to have it break. If it breaks and I haven't told anyone, then fine. But I'm just a bit cautious at the moment. And, you know, obviously the other reason is, like, I'm a massive tease. And, you know, I like taunting you, be like, ah, look at this amazing thing that you can't look at, so there's nothing to look at. Anyway, you get the point. But Project Elyria is something that I'm really, really interested in, and it's going to be totally awesome, and hopefully, maybe, please be awesome. But anyway, yeah, I'll probably be able to tell you something about that in a few weeks' time, maybe. Seeing how things go. But anyway, until then, I guess nothing to say other than thank you so much for all the support for the channel. It's crazy great and amazing. And also, I'm going to be redoing the Patreon at some stage because I need to do that. Like, it's been almost a year, and I like how the Patreon's going, but I think I need to, like, re-jazz it, revitalize it, give it a bit more oomph, because it's kind of got a little bit, like, there's not much on there at the moment. Like, people are still supporting the channel, and, you know, the needs you stuff is happening with people's names in games, and I still do the Q&A occasionally, but not as often. And all that sort of stuff happens, and, you know, people's names on the end slate, but I need to maybe re-jazz it, give it a bit more life. So I'm going to think about that, and of course take suggestions on that as well. But yeah, until next time, I've been EnterElysium. Yeah. Thank you all for the support, and stay shiny.